another interesting case that I was involved in regarding a bondsman who was charged with aggravated assault on police officers. The underlying facts were that my client was a licensed, authorized bondsman here in Clayton County. He was paid to go out and find a woman who had skipped bond, and she was charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, which is narcotics. His job was to go ahead and arrest this person who had skipped bond. Anyway, he got word that this person was going to be at this Shell station, gas station, and he went there for that purpose. He did not know that ultimately the person that he was to arrest was working with the authorities and undercover operations, and he was not aware of that. So he proceeded to the Shell gas station. There was a car in which he stopped. He pulled his car in front of this particular vehicle. That later, come to find out, the woman that he was supposed to be arrested was the passenger, and there was another female lady, a driver, who he did not know, in an unmarked vehicle. He pulled his car in front of this vehicle, and he got out, identified himself by name and as a bondsman, and told them to pull out his weapon and told them to get out of the vehicle. At that point, they refused to get out of the vehicle. He asked 2 or 3 times. Unbeknownst to him, this particular location was set up for the woman that had skipped bond. She was working with the authorities. She was trying to get another person that she was dealing drugs with to that location. So what had happened, as soon as he pulled his gun out and requested that they get out of the vehicle 2 or 3 times, they sounded the alert, and what happened at that point, about 10 agents converged on the location. They were running towards my client. At that point in time, he realized that something was going on, and when the police were rushing towards him and identifying themselves, he threw his hands up in the air. He did have a gun. He threw his gun over to the side into the grassy area, put his hands up and identified himself by name and said that he was a lawful authorized bondsman here to arrest this person that had skipped bond. They did not pay any attention to him whatsoever. They basically grabbed him, put him on the ground, and now continue to beat him up. They beat him about the face. There was a 300-pound police officer that pounded his face in. He sustained injuries to his face, and also the police officer broke his hand because of the pulping him in the face that he took. Also, the guy at 300 pounds took a knee and dropped it into his midsection, causing internal injuries. My client at that point was laying on the ground from this beating he had just taken, and then what they ended up doing is they asked him afterwards, asked him his name. He tried to still explain it to him that he was a bondsman. He showed him his license, showed him all his information that he was lawfully there. They still took him to jail, They first took him to the hospital, and they put him in a room, chained him to the bed. And then what they did after that, instead of allowing him to leave, what they did is to cover themselves, they charged him with 2 counts of aggravated assault, and they arrested him. He had to make bond to get out, and they charged him with the aggravated assault because he pulled his pistol on that person that was driving. It was a police officer who he did not know, and also the passenger was the woman that had skipped bond. What we tried to do is, obviously he was lawfully there. He was within his rights and carrying out his duties. So he was not doing anything in violation of the law. This was a drug squad setup, and so there was 3 people that were ahead of it: the sheriff, the district attorney, and the chief of police. They were the 3 people that were ahead of this drug squad, that their purpose was to clean up the streets and what have you. I went to them and tried to get them to drop the charges. And I knew the district attorney. He said he would. The other 2 people refused to drop the charges. So therefore, he was charged, and we had to go to a jury trial. So that was the basis of it. We went to a jury trial. The jury found my client not guilty. Then we turned around and filed a civil rights suit against Clayton County and the 3 people that were involved, that were headed the drug squad. And so we took that to federal court. We sued them. We went to court. We had a jury trial on that, and the jury came back and awarded us a large sum of money against the county and the individuals involved because of the fact that my client was lawfully there and that he should have never been charged in the first place. So that was another notable case that had a little twist and turns in it, that we even had to go to a jury trial to prove his innocence, and they still would not drop the charges, and that would have resolved it. My client, because he was a bondsman, said he would forego charges against him if they would just give him his bonding license back, because the sheriff had suspended it, and he would even drop and give a waiver not to sue them if they allowed him to do that. So I thought that was an interesting case based upon the facts, and like I say, learned a lot, and also about the inner workings of Clayton County.